This is what people who don't change their oil do. They walk everywhere. Take care of your car, okay? Jeez! Well, hello everybody. My name's Matt Vandiver. This is probably your first time tuning in to my channel, the Car Chimp. I thought that name was funny, because I'm basically a big car chimp, you know. I like cars a lot. I've done a lot of stuff. I've worked at dealerships selling them. I've bought over 150 cars. I've sold, 150 cars. Buy them, I clean them up, I fix them, which is basic maintenance stuff. Then I sell them, make a profit. Usually, not all the time. That's not how it works out sometimes. But yeah, that's just what I do. That's what the channel is going to be about. It's just some basic stuff you probably need to know, which is vehicle ownership. My real reason for starting this channel, and I don't mean to sound like sappy or anything, but I've got two little boys. Jack, my oldest son, is 2 years old, and my second son his name is Thomas, and he's about 6 months old. And then I've got another one on the way. I know I'm staying busy, but you never know. You never know what life's gonna bring your way. I plan on being there their whole life and trying my best to be a good dad. But you never know. I mean, I could die in a car wreck right now, filming this video. I could die. I'm currently in the National Guard. I could. You just never know when your time is, and I want to at least have some videos or some tools that my sons can use and watch. So it's like I'm teaching them how to work on their car, even though in the case, worst case scenario, I'm not there. So I know it sounds kind of sappy, maybe stupid, but that's just kind of what I'm thinking. But I don't plan on dying. No, that's not the idea. So, but yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. Hopefully it's exciting. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Leave in the comments questions or concerns or anything, you got ideas for maybe new videos. But yeah, just let me know. I think this is going to be a fun ride. Alright, so this is the part of the video where I'm going to get into the meat and potatoes, really, the whole purpose of this video. Right here, I've got just your basic Honda Accord. It's a 2002 4-cylinder. It's the 6th generation. Very common. Most college students are going to be driving something like this or something really similar. Toyota Camry, Ford Focus, something like that. But so I'm just going to go do a basic kind of walk around, show you what's important just for basic maintenance stuff that you should just keep an eye on as you own this vehicle. So the very first thing I'm going to do to check my vehicle is pop the hood. So, and don't mind if the car's kind of dirty, but it's real life. Here, underneath here, right here, is the hood release. Just going to pop that. It doesn't take any strength or muscle. It should be really easy. Just going to lift this up real quick. And you notice it's not lifting up all the way. That's because it has a secondary, like a safety on there, so it doesn't fly up when you're driving it. So you'll notice a little latch right about here. You got to hit that. Then your hood. You raise your hood up. Prop it up. Here we go. Here's the engine. Here's the guts of the vehicle. I'm going to go through and show you what each little individual part is. But the very first thing we're going to check is the oil, because that's the most important part of your vehicle, is the oil, it's the lifeblood. Here, we're just going to check the oil. There we go. You can kind of see right where that oil is in the middle of those two dots. What those two dots mean is it's a quart of oil. So right now, and it could be anywhere within those two dots, that means your engine's nice and oiled up. If it's below the two dots, that means there's not enough engine oil, you need to add a quart. If it's above the two dots, that's actually even worse. It means there's too much oil in your engine. That means you got too much oil pressure, and that will actually destroy your engine faster than not enough oil will. So you definitely, that oil is the lifeblood of your engine. That's the most important part that I would say check first. Make sure the oil is nice and clean, like a nice golden color. That means it's been changed recently. Make sure there's not metal shavings or anything like that when you pull it out. Right here on the top of the valve cover is this big silver piece right here. you're gonna have a oil filler cap, and on that cap it's gonna tell you what kind of engine oil it has. So this one says it has 5W20 full synthetic. So when you go to O'Reilly's or Walmart to get your oil, make sure you get the exact type that's recommended for your engine. You're just gonna flip this off, and that's where you're gonna put a funnel to put the correct amount of oil in there. So this engine holds 4 quarts of oil. So I'm gonna buy a 5-quart jug, put in 4 out of the 5, and then double check, make sure I didn't overfill it. You gotta make sure you put that back on. Next, let's see what else we're gonna check out. So next we're gonna talk about spark plugs. So as you can see here, these 4 spark plugs wires are actually in really good condition. I can tell they're new. They're very malleable. I don't see any cracks on them. I can tell they're not old. Then these 4 spark plugs wires lead to the distributor. So most cars, because this is a 2002, this is actually the last year they used a distributor cap and rotor and all that. So most modern cars, you're not going to see this. What you're going to see is coil packs, but that's a whole different subject. But so this go to here, that's how you get your timing. If I'm going to check the spark plugs, which is usually a pretty smart thing to do, you just lift this up, check the quality of those are fine, and then I'm going to go reach in there with a tool that looks like this. I don't know if you can see that. And what this does, when I go down there, I'll loosen it up, and then I'll get a spark plug out that looks like this. So this is an old spark plug, still in okay condition. You can see some oxidation on there. It's probably got about 30,000 miles on it. But you pull it out, and if it looked like this, that's fine. It's not destroyed yet, so that's pretty good. That's how you're gonna check your spark plugs. Make sure your engine's getting plenty good spark. Take that up. Let's put that back. You gotta make sure these, after you get done checking them, go all the way in. You heard that little pop there. So yep, we're all good there. Next thing we're gonna check is our coolant. So here's your radiator. What this does is it cools the fluid in there that cools your engine so you don't overheat. Now before you open this, you're gonna wanna make sure that the engine's hasn't been running for a long time. It's not too hot, because if it is too hot, you'll try to open this and steam will come up and burn you, and you'll get 3rd-degree burns. So you wanna make sure your engine's nice and cool before we do that. And then you'll look in there. I don't know if you can get a good angle on that. Yeah, so I can see my green fluid. It's definitely full. It's somewhat clean. It's definitely good enough for an old Honda. There's no issues there. So we know we're not out of fluid. And then this is your coolant reservoir. So this just has all the excess coolant that you might need. You'll take this out, lift this up, and then just make sure it's about 1/4 full. It by no means has to be all the way full, but just make sure you got about 1/4 of it filled up with some clean fluid. So that's your coolant. That's the second lifeblood of your engine. Right here we've got your battery. So we've got a positive terminal and a negative terminal. I've actually done this myself too. I've put the jumper cables on the wrong ones before, and I actually ended up frying the car because I put the positive jumper cable on the negative, which you can see because the black wires here. And I put the negative one on the positive, and it fried my 100-amp fuse. But you don't want to do that. On the battery, you'll see it'll say positive. You can't really see it from here, but then it'll say negative right there. Just make sure you don't mess that up. You can also see this says the date bought was February of 2018. So when you're buying a car, you're going to want to check that too. So batteries only last about 3 to 5 years. So this one, this one's right about on the last legs of its life cycle. So I'm probably going to have to buy a new battery here pretty soon. They're about 150 bucks, not too bad. After the battery, we're going to check the air filter. Just take these 4 tabs out like that, not too hard. Every car is different when it comes to the air filter, but I'm going to lift this up. I don't see any mouse nests or nothing in here or big leaves. I can tell this filter, see, this filter looks pretty clean. It's obviously brand new. I actually just changed it myself. These are only about $6. You can buy them online or in a store. You're going to look inside here. you see some leaves, not too bad, but there's also no big nests where birds or whatever have, clogging your airflow. You don't want to choke your engine out. So make sure you put this back on. Get all these little tabs. And then the last thing you're going to do with your engine, you see here, you're going to check your belts. So right here, this is your belt going to your power steering pump. You can see I have a little bit of a leak right there. Not a big deal. They all leak after a little bit, but you're going to check the quality of this belt. So as you can see, I've got pretty good tension on there. It's not too loose. It doesn't squeak at all. But you can also see that there's not any cracks or cuts in it. So, and you're going to check the air compressor belt too down here. So just basically check all your belts, make sure they look good. There's no cracks or, it's not too old on there. These are really cheap. They're about $20 if you go buy new belts. Not a big deal if they are old, but you might want to have a mechanic do that for you. Here you got your brake fluid. Just check that. I've never had to change out the brake fluid. It's usually, or no, that's not brake fluid. That's power steering pump fluid. My bad. But usually this lasts for about 100,000 miles before you need to start looking at it. Here's your window washer fluid. This just keeps, it's not a big deal if it's empty or full. You just, this is good to clean your windshield if you need it. Put some Rain-X in there or something. So yeah, that's just an overview of the engine. One more thing I check is sometimes, especially on older cars, they've got timing belts in them instead of timing chains. And a lot of time when they change out that timing belt, they'll say right here, they'll put a sticker or something saying when the timing belt was changed. So yeah, there you go. It says timing belt was changed 2014 with 147,000 miles on there. So a timing belt lasts about 100,000 miles. So I've got about another 50,000 miles to go on my timing belt before I have to change it. So not a big deal at all. Let's see here. If there's anything else. Oh yeah, right here is your fuse box. So on top will give you a full diagram of all the different types of fuses and where they go. If your car doesn't start or something's an issue, a lot of times it actually goes back to the fuse boxes. You got 2 fuse boxes in your car. This is for your engine bay, and you got another one underneath your driver's side. Just a little flip panel, but that's where your fuses are. I think that sums up the engine part of this video. I'm sure there's a lot of stuff I'm forgetting, but this is just the basic stuff that everybody should know when they're either buying a car or they're just trying to do some maintenance on it. Not a big deal. One more thing here. Say if I'm buying this vehicle, I'm going to do a walk around before I buy it, before I hand the guy the money. I'm just checking for super simple stuff like a huge thing or the body panel gaps. So you can tell this one, the gaps line up. It's not super short down here and really wide up here. And you can see that here with this door. It's the same way. Same gap sizes everywhere. Now, why you want to look for this is if you see they're all over the place, it means it's probably been in a wreck. And they had to replace the door, or they tried to bend it back or put a different part on there. And that just kind of tells you what kind of life this vehicle's led. So this one's actually in pretty decent condition for being over 20 years old. Another thing you're going to check, here's the wheel and the tire. You're going to check the tread. So my finger goes down. I'd say this one, it's got really good tread. It doesn't have any dry rot. Dry rot's when you see little cracks and stuff in it. But this one's fine. It's got probably 70% tire left. If you can see your reflection in the tire, that's not a good thing. You definitely need to get new tires. So you're just checking all the panels, looking for rust, looking for big dents. This one's got good paint. Let's see here. Let me open the trunk. Here's the trunk. Inside your trunk, I don't know. You don't have to do this. This is just something I do personally. I keep some jumper cables here, as you can see. Just some nice long ones, have some good reach. They're nice and got a good gauge, nice and thick. They're not going to blow up on you. A nice little 4-way tool for your tire. If you ever have to change your tire, those are a lot handier than the ones that come with the car. I mean, I just got basic stuff. I mean, I got some oil in there just in case my engine burns any. I can always refill the oil. And then that's just some basic stuff that I'd keep in my car. You don't have to though. It's kind of handy. But yeah, so that basically sums up just basic stuff you need to know, to have a vehicle that you need to put on your vehicle, or if you're gonna buy it. So, hey, thank you so much for watching this.